All right. So thank you guys for showing up to this. It's the last webinar we have for July. And so I thank you for showing up for this Legal Shield and Field Notes. Just wanted to let everybody know that we are moving to a different address. So please do open up your emails and see that we have a new address, which is this address, which is to my room. So that is new. If I would suggest people setting up settings and installing the application if you guys haven't from Google or Apple Play Store or the Apple Store, I apologize, and then set on bell notifications mobile and hit save. This will get you to have these messages pushed to your phone, and that way you can be reminded and show up. All right. So let me, oh, here, there we go. So now we're out of this. I wanted to continue the discussion about the piece that I added in the library, which discussed prospecting, which is a new prospect 8x8 with a 33 plus existing 8x8. This is for customers once you have them as customers. This is an action plan that's more geared to get them to be more of an advocate of your services. If you can get your customers become advocates of your service, I think the attraction of new people will be kind of effortless because you'll have somebody such as them out there doing your job, you know what I mean? And basically giving you testimonials right there from the word and usually just kind of put you in contact or give somebody your information. So I think it's also good to think about of a procedure to receive these referrals. Um, that's one thing that was suggested in this action. This 8x8 is to build a protocol for like receiving referrals. So what's the best method to reach you, to communicate this to you, that kind of thing. Do you have one of those like a referral um, process, Rick? I think you do kind of, right? Like if I wanted to
Yes.
refer somebody to you, you basically have these are my channels. This is how you get in hold of me. This is how
hmm
you kind of loop me in. And do you like educate people on your process, or is it just something that only when they come to you educate them?
Uh, well, I do it in a couple of different ways. In fact, I am actively right now multitasking
Right?
and building such a thing for a presentation. I am giving in just over an hour.
There we go.
um, so and that's the whole thing will be, educating people about how to get a hold of me. In this particular case, it's tied in with the fact that August is National Make a Will Month,
Hmm.
and somehow it just happened that it's my day to do the presentation in my networking group. So
There we go.
um, I'm kind of building that. It's a multi-step process. It's here, get this document for yourself, and you can hand this out. Here's a URL that you can use to refer clients to me. I will have in that presentation a link to my Google reviews, and so yeah. I mean, it's not just a way. Just like the action plans that we have, you have to sit there and think about, okay, what's the context in which I'm going to employ this,
Yeah.
and what's my audience, what will they respond to, and what can I consider a close. So my close on this, where is either I get a review, or they go to the link and request the full 19-page document that Legal Shield has provided for us. And that will be through a form. They'll fill out that form, name, email address, and bam, they will get it in return email through Fieldnotes. So,
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
that's a good, I think another good way for accepting referrals, right, is having a really engaging signature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that has a photo, something that has all of your information when it comes to, like, so instead of telling them these are my emails for referrals, obviously if you just plaster the, you create the funnel, then they'll know this is his email, this is his phone number. If I needed to reach out to him, if I needed to, forward him an email, if I needed to CC, this is right. So having a really clear signature, right? Having photos, and if anybody has seen the Signature Hound site, they do a really good job of making it just kind of plug and play so that you can get your social media stuff in there. They also have some of those icons, those little pictures. You can actually turn those into call to action buttons and things like that. And so with that, you can put a link to maybe testimonials so people can have a link to where you have all your testimonials, people speaking greatness about you and all the help that they've been able to get through your services. Um, and then maybe kind of like, well, if they're getting this through your signature, most likely they're already in the CRM. So I don't think maybe a form, unless it's a form to, that they want to get, that they have to supply so that they can get some more value from it. I would think that that's perfect. But having a good signature and then having all of your communications going out, I think that'll also serve as people, if they have one of your emails, they can forward it, they can CC the other person into it. So having that, I think that also helps facilitate a referral. But if you just didn't have one that wasn't engaging and all they have is maybe like an email or just a phone number, I think it might be not challenging, but it would make things a little bit more difficult. And what you want to do is make things easy for people, right? To
Yep.
to be able to pass you off to your friends. And I think with like testimonials is huge. And you could put a lot of your services so that somebody could go looking for A, but then they heard about C. Oh, snaps. I think I want A, B, C, D. I think I want all of what I've heard. And then so I think testimonials is a good thing. And so has anybody given any kind of thought maybe to the first part for like new prospects? Have they thought of an 8x8, possibly even the next step, which is a 33?
Jeremy, can you go back to how you got where you're at? Because I'm in my field notes and I can't find where you're at.
Thunderbolt action plans at the
Right.
bottom right is message templates. And then that takes us to the library, and it takes us to your own library and folders as well in the text message library.
Okay, so you did your normal 4,000 miles an hour. So you go to from the lightning bolt to touch points.
Yes, you have to hold, like, hover above it, and then it gives you the option to go to text or to message templates, and then you'll see the library, and then it's
Okay,
in
thank you.
prospecting.
Yep, thanks.
So 8x8, do you think this is going to be helpful in, let's say, to your guys's I wouldn't say day to day, but it could, help you guys attract new prospects and get them into, a position in which they would want to utilize any of the services that you guys have to offer?
Obviously, I haven't had a chance to look at what each of those do, but by just looking at the titles, it would seem that it would be of value, if nothing else, as a starting point to tweak to make our own from.
Correct, correct. So the way that that I kind of built this is so that you would be in the action plan side and you would want to create an action plan. So I'll use this follow-up test. And then so I think I already did kind of like a little mini demo of it. But so this is the first week. So really it's just kind of like a placeholder in the beginning. So you can go through and then set up an email activity, pull from the templates, and you can look at the library. And so this is week 1 to the existing. Let's close this one and go to the new prospect. And then now this is week 2, save. You really don't have to kind of think of any of the triggers for the moment. I would say just kind of build it out as a template so that you have, let me let Denis in. Week 3. And now you can just kind of go through the rest, get your 8 weeks action plan built out. And so here's the first 4, then just essentially start making edits. Okay, so what am I going to call this email? You know, what's the title? And then here is just kind of like a short little mention of what you can do, but it doesn't necessarily, you know, this is just a suggestion. If you feel that you want to go with a different, I think you did a video, right, Rick?
Yes. Yes,
And
I did.
and in that video, what did you outline in that video to like what was important information? It was like I remember seeing it was like a little intro, talks
Mhm.
about connecting. I think you had maybe like a topic of discussion that you wanted to talk to them about or to bring up. It was about an email specific, I think. And then,
Right, it was. And it's the one that I use just for brand new contacts that I meet at live networking groups. So it responds to a QR code that takes them again to one of the forums. But then the video is just, hey, it was really nice to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better. Bam, that's really it. And so it's just so that they, you know, we obviously had met at an event. The
yeah,
fact is, most people are going to forget you the minute the event is
anything to
over.
connect.
But that gives them another view of my face. They hear my voice and see the mannerisms and everything that go with it. So it's just that that reminder, and I will be hopefully the 1 or 2 people that they say, oh, okay, I remember meeting that person.
Exactly, exactly. And so I would say you could even lead with that. Doesn't have just to be an email or a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I think like these people get caught up maybe with just one touch 1 week. I would also maybe think about this in the first week. What is it that you want to achieve? Because it might be that if you want to connect with him, it might take a couple touches, right? But it's just for that first week. And I think you guys might think that it's real busy to be then, let's say you did 3 touches in this week and then the next week you're responsible for more touches, and then right, this is 2 months. It's intended a little bit of, I don't know if that's intense for you, but it's intended to be that way to really through that 2 months, those 8 touches, 8 weeks of contact, that you really build a relationship, right? So, you know, I would say if that's not your style and you like something a little bit more laid back, well then do so, right? I wouldn't necessarily want to fight you and say, nope, you got to do it in 8 weeks and only in 8 weeks. I would say that this is more just an outline. If you feel comfortable not having so many touches, um, however, please pay attention to like what kind of results that you get. Because if you don't see any results, maybe then you might shorten things up. Maybe you might kind of tighten it down a little bit and have more communications to see if you get better results, because at the end of the day, you want something that delivers results. So, and this can be definitely tailored to yourself and how you want to work. And so, I would just say really look at it. If you have questions or if you want to brainstorm stuff, I'm always available to, to kind of, since I have a little bit of an understanding of each and how and everybody works, what might you want to do? Sometimes people draw a blank or go to the internet, see what other people are doing. I mean, I don't see a lot of people using 8x8s in the legal shield kind of aspect of it, but the way that the other people do it, they're still trying to attract, they're still trying to engage. So you just kind of have to interject topics, and you should be able to find a good medium and begin the process, I would say. And so so this is like what, first week. Then there's the video. So the video is something that we kind of just discussed, whether if you wanted to make it the first thing, right? Or if really you want to kind of play this 8x8 out, because I could see that you could have different 8x8s, 8x8s for people that you met out in the field, maybe an 8x8 that you just gathered somebody's information so you haven't seen them or nothing. Maybe you build a different 8x8 for those kinds of contacts. That way, you're not telling somebody, hey, it was nice to meet you when you really didn't meet them, right? And so what I would do is start with your first action plan, right? Your first 8x8. And then when you have it for all those other scenarios, copy it, just clone it. And then all you have to do is rename it and adjust some of the small little details in the action plan. So where you would do that is these little dots and clone the plan. And now you're going to have a copy of that one. And then now I can go into this one. And if it's a matter of just making the edit, making the video the first thing, I can do that. I can move maybe kind of like a follow-up phone call for the following week. I can do social media, legal plan overview, and you can then continue to, I guess, customize and tailor the action plan to best fit each and every scenario, because in some cases you'll find that the action plan is good for one scenario, maybe on the introduction, it's to how you met them, that kind of thing. And then maybe you've got to switch it up for other scenarios for people that you're not, maybe if you're just doing like a cold calling, or let's say that you got a list from a chamber of commerce, right? So it's just specific people from a specific kind of place, then you would like to maybe address maybe the chamber of commerce in which you found their information from, kind of familiarize yourself. So of course it would be different, but I wouldn't sweat it and be like, oh, now I got to create another whole action plan. No, I would just clone it, rename it, go in, make the adjustments, and now you've got a similar action plan. Of course, videos, you might have to redo and make special videos. And so the only thing I would say with that is try to produce something simple, not something, kind of like a decent angle, and just kind of, create your own style. Really, it's nothing too tricky, wouldn't you say, Rick, to kind of come up with a video? Just grab your best
Yeah.
side, right? And then
Yeah.
just kind of hold it out, kind of, at a distant level. If you don't like, from the neck down, we'll just kind of crop it in closer and make a nice little closer in. And then if anybody has any, ways of using Canva and that kind of stuff, you can kind of dress it up a little bit, maybe caption your words as you're talking, a couple of logos, maybe a phone number, an email, or like a hashtag if you want to create a movement, you know, hashtag legal. Um, so, but as long as you start with simple, then get familiarized and, you know, just every once in a while, start creating a little bit of content, you'll see that it gets easier and easier. And then you can start personalizing things for people, which is like the next step, is what I've heard, is people actually saying, hey, John, it was great to see you at that meeting, and that to come in the email. It does take a little bit more to produce, but I mean, if you have the screen capture or the web setup to quickly do that, or on your phone, um, at the end of the day, you just want to resonate with people. And this will give you that impression in which, you know, you're doing all this hard work, staying on top of them. So it's really going to install that, you know, that where the people need to actually kind of reply back to you for, you know, out of niceness, you know what I mean? Because you've been so helpful. Tell me, Jackie.
Well, it just, you guys got me thinking, in network groups that I've been in, they always encourage us to set up one-on-ones with all the other people that are in the network. And the whole purpose of that is to sit down for 30 minutes. And this is like in person, but to sit down and hear about their business, learn about their business. This would be a great way, if you're afraid of it a little bit, to like, I don't want this big long thing. You could do it as like Rick said, hey, I just, you know, first one, you just met them. I'd like to chat with you and hear a little bit more about your business. So it's not like you doing yours. It's more like, tell me more about what you do, and set up something like that. I'm not quite sure what steps you would put in that, but it could be shorter. And for those of us that are maybe don't want a whole long and think maybe 8x8 is too much, it might be another way just to kind of start that first conversation with someone. So
I'm up with that. Like, so the 8x8 is kind of like an icebreaker. It is kind of a get your foot in the door. An 8x8 is not just the foot, it's like the full body, right?
right.
So it is intended to lay down a really good foundation rapport. But if you wanted to chop it in half and make a 4x4, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm comfortable what makes you comfortable. Does that make sense? If you
And I
feel
get right. And
you
my
feel that
question
this
would
is
be,
the best approach,
if you did, and you're trying to do that, where instead of me having to make the calls for all the people I met at the chamber meeting, a short one to try to set those appointments to chat, you could do a 4x4. And I'm not really sure quite what you would cut it down to put in there would be effective. I don't know if, has anyone done shorter ones, just when
well,
you've kind of already made that connection, you kind of there, you want to like really meet, you know, what would you do in that point that's maybe not 8x8, I guess.
so the objective is to create rapport, be friendly, you know what I mean? To get into the friend zone. That's what it's used for, right? So it tries to put you in situations such as the social media, such as the plan overview, customer testimonials, the video, the intro, just moments of where you're face to face. It's really the agent's, you know, job there being now face to face to try to take that football as far into the end zone as they can in every moment, gathering as much information relating to that person, trying to hear as much of the pain points, right? So this is obviously an 8x8, but if you're able to connect quickly with the individual, and like what you want to say, you want to get into a meeting. So why not your first, right? Your first touch is obviously a nice intro, whether if it's thanking for having that conversation, or it was nice to meet you at this event. If it, you know, whatever the scenario might be, let's address that, and maybe, you know, allude to what you would like to do, which is when can we get into, you know, when is the best moment in which we can have a meeting. And then I would just kind of hold it there, and everything there activity wise is going to be follow-up phone call, reminder text message or email, that
Mm.
those types of approach, but about the meeting. Why?
Yeah.
Because that's your moment when you're going to really get the person. So that's your focus point, right? Is to get them in that meeting. In
Mhm.
that meeting, you could have a lot of these 8x8 things in the meeting, right?
Right.
So as long as you're gathering all of that, I would immediately after the meeting is done, have a 33 for that person. Why?
Yeah.
Because that's like the next step, right? From the 8x8. But the 8x8 was, you know, let's just say totally customized to how you're doing your sales and your approach and all of that stuff. But
Okay.
then they get put into a 33, which is, you know, holiday reminders. It is if they do become a client right there, the onboarding process, the whole kind of, you know, you're going to start that. There's a lot of things that you can build within the 33. So, or that's Keith Murray's what didn't he, no, Keith Morrison, didn't he say 24, the 24 touches? So
Mhm.
you if the 33 is a lot, it can be 24.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Okay.
so it's just as long as you have a plan and you set them up and you're timely, I think that's what's more important about the 24 or the 33 is that the stuff is programmed, it's set up. The great thing about Fieldnotes is you can program all of this. Obviously, this is what that discussion's about. And so this is just that outline for you to create, right? Your in infinite different action plans, 8x8s for attracting people's attention. So that's what I would say. Miriam, do you see how you might use this 8x8? Are you struggling with any key points of the 8x8 or anything?
No, I understand the concept. I would be more inclined to do what Jackie's talking about, is shorten it and make it more into just I don't know, 3 or 4 of them and send them out that way.
Sure, sure. I think whatever you guys feel that's best, especially for the way that you guys are doing it, do it. Pay close attention to how things are, like the results that you get, and then look at the action plan and say to yourself, is there anything I can do different?
Mhm.
Is there information I want people to reference prior to? Is there maybe a video I can help them watch or suggest to watch prior to? You know what I mean? Just to that helps you at the moment to make that little meeting just that much more engaging, thoughtful, and you know,
Right.
down to the point, because the whole 8x8 with the 2 months worth of touches is where this person in their mind, if you were to say that you were to consistently for 2 months hear about somebody, I think that person would be like they would have jumped the fence and now they're at least in your yard, right? You know what I mean? So that's what that's intended
Yeah.
for, is having that long kind of just 2 months drip, and then they'll go into a 33, which is a little bit more 3 touches a month kind of, right?
Mhm.
So if you're able to achieve that with the 4 or 3 little touches, perfect, right? I'm not going to say
Well,
no.
and I think what happens to me is I'll go to a chamber meeting or networking event and I'll meet with them. I'll have a good rapport with them and we're like, yes, let's get together and chat. And then we all get busy and we don't do it. And so you've already jumped past those stages, but then I fall down by not doing the next one, which is getting around to setting the meeting, or things get busy or whatever. And if something went out immediately after that, to get that set, like while it's still in your mind, then you could move and do the rest. And that's where I think I have a hole in my system.
So
So
what I would say with that is keep the 8x8 in its 8x8 kind of uh, you know, length and activities for new prospects that you haven't already
right,
gotten that far with.
right.
And what you need is an action plan that helps you from that moment that you made the intro and that you had that, and then something that helps you follow up so that within 15 days of you saying something,
Yeah,
right,
there you go.
you are, so you met that person this day, so you start this action plan, and what it is a nice thoughtful little email / text message, maybe email thanking and then a text message saying something kind of like, hey, I sent you a message to this email address, just wanted to make sure you got it. And then that way, hopefully, you've got all the correct information. If you don't need to do it, then you don't, but everybody loves confirming the information in some shape or form. Then it goes right into, okay, when do you think is the best time to, set this up? And then you've got follow-up, email, text message, follow-up, email, text message. So you're staying on top of it professionally. You're not being pushy. You just, if everybody said, hey, we should, well then, it's not your fault. You're the active one wanting to get it done, but
Yeah.
you at least have all of that follow-up set up into the system. So it puts appointments or alerts you of an all-day reminders, and hopefully that gets you to, out of all of those, meetings and conversations you have with people, you get more people on the table, and hopefully you're able to, do more deals is what I would say. But yeah, so doing a separate action plan just to help you for those instances is what I would build.
Okay.
And then, but still have an 8x8 so that you could use these on, people that you've met from the chambers, but you never even actually connected, right?
Right.
That could be something in which um is good. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Gary, how are you doing? Gary, have you had a chance to see the, I think you have, it was the, sorry about that. It was the new addition to 8x8 and 33 that I put in the prospecting.
You know,
That's mhm.
I was late to the party today.
Yes.
I didn't have the right link, but I've got it now. I did look around because I was on last Thursday, so I did look at the 8x8 and the 33. So I've got the concept. I think it's a great idea. It's all about building relationships
Yep.
and keeping those people top of mind to yourself.
It's about building. Yes, it has its purpose, right? To friend zone a prospect so that the conversation can be obviously um, friend to friend. You do the active listening, and when you hear the pain points, oh, boom, I think this might work for you, that kind of thing. So it's a different way of selling, but it also gives it puts you in the way of like thinking as a protocol, as a process to dealing with these people, right? So did you, if, do I just know that, do I know this person because I met this person, or if I don't, or if he's a client, or if he's not, this is where you would kind of build out your different scenarios. So the first one is for new people, um, getting to obviously just to connect with them, just to kind of find out if there is any pain and do any of the things that you have, right? Because who knows, could be a great guy, you guys could connect, but none of the things at the moment resonate with him. But you guys did a really cool connection. You guys like the same things. You see you see yourselves at the same places and things like that. So all you really have to do is just kind of keep and maintain that. You never know, he could send somebody, since he listened to what you have, really thought about what you offered him, but maybe somebody else he knows could definitely benefit. But because of that relationship that you have with them, now he's even considering saying, hey, Gary, let me put you in touch with my other friend who likes and has all this other stuff that might need your services, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's intended to ferment those types of relationships, but also for yourself to kind of have a checklist. And let's say you did an 8x8 with somebody, and now you put him into a 33, and he has not yet decided to go with any of your products or any of anything, I would say, perfect. You've got him on a 33. You've done enough to get him to that point. Now you're going to try to focus on the others. there may be a point in which that person's 33 that he does a full circle and he reaches out to you, or maybe through one of those touches, you actually see him again, and now you have a chance to have conversation. Essentially, you're going to want to be listening for pain, you know, but you just really want to keep it friendly, because it's not like you're trying to, you know, sell him a used car. You just want to listen to key moments in life in which, you know, if he's expressing a lot of, you know, pain over a divorce or an issue that you think a lawyer could, you know, maybe you want to do a nice little drop of the legal shield, and you never know, it could resonate and he moves forward, and that's what you kind of, you know, get him in with based off of that event. But it's because you're actively listening. You've got him on the 33. It was one of those follow-up activities, so you followed up with them, you heard, boom. You know, the thing is that when things come from friends, we're more prone to give you a straight answer, and then instead of saying, well, yeah, well, let's talk about that next week, and then you go 6 weeks, 6 months trying to get a hold of somebody on the phone, and it's just he never has, you know, the stuff to tell you, hey, I don't even think I really need it. And that's all you really want. You know, adults, we all want answers, straight answers, not, you know, BS. And so just a little bit of what that should help, people kind of, you know, deliver. And so, okay. Well, please do, you know, continue to play around with it, see how you can make it yours. And if you have questions, I definitely would like to help you create whatever your Franken 8x8 you might want to come up with. At the end of the day, I think something is better than nothing. And if everybody can take away, what is it that Keith said, take action, I think that'll do wonders for a lot of people, and it'll get them started, getting them in the program, seeing the things start to build out all the little nooks and crannies that this system can help you with, such as prospecting people. And like what Jackie said, it's I already did my 8x8, right? My 8x8 done. The person is ready to talk to me, but I'm failing to get that person back into the next meeting, right? Into the next. So that right there, an action plan can definitely help you, but it's building those little things out and having them kind of like a gun, you know, whether if it's a 6-shooter or a Glock, but having your gun full of your bullets so that you can, you know, use those on people, I think is key. Tell me, Gary.
Well, I was just going to say all good information. Sorry, this is probably a review for everybody else, but I was a little late coming on. But Jeremy, the link that you sent earlier, is that going to be the link we'll be using on Mondays and Thursdays moving forward?
Yes. So I've made updates in Jackie's
And what you get, it should be the
in
correct link.
Jackie's, it's the
Yeah.
correct link. Yeah. So I made updates in the link, in the emails, and in the text message. I sent out one just recently, just so that if everybody didn't get it, that they got it again.
Perfect.
So yeah, so
And
this is going to be
maybe
the
what
new.
I should do is send just a new one that just says, be sure to check we have a new link. Because if like you're like me, you put it in your system and it's there. And so people are not realizing it's a new link because you just click on it. So
I see.
I probably should give notice to everyone that it's new. So they're the people that haven't been on for a while.
I think,
You know.
and I think that's where Bob mentioned that I said that I was going to do that, and so now I see where I possibly had offered that to let everybody know of the new one. So
Okay.
yes, I thank you, Bob. I remember now. All right. So okay.
Between
So
the two of us, Jeremy and I have a thought. Sometimes he has half, I have half. Sometimes neither one of us have one, you know, but we manage.
sometimes they just live here and they
Yeah.
go nowhere. they do nothing. So
Exactly.
So the
sometimes
difference is there's a thought, there's thoughtful and thoughtless.
Oh.
I'm all 3 in 1, right? That's my problem. But
Or I thought so. you know,
Yeah, right.
I guess they keep on adding to the list. So, so yeah, so that is a little bit of what those new little folders in the prospecting are for. It's just maybe possibly to help you guys build those relationships, take them to the next step, and hopefully do it with everybody in a more kind of military kind of way, right? You get a contact, you hit them with the action plan, you get them to a specific place, and then now you have them categorized and here, and then you do that with the next person and see if you can consistently bring people on that have gone through your action plan, meaning they've seen your information, you know, nice little welcome, you know, hit them with as much info about as much as you have, testimonials and all that kind of stuff. Later on, when you're trying to reach out to these people to see if any of it sticks, I think you have a fighting chance to proposition them, you know, opposed to you not having the chance to do any of this or try to do it, but it's so scattered. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. And then let's say you don't have a system, so you're only bringing on 5-10 people a week. But now that you have a system, you can speak and reach out to maybe 50 people a week, right? Just imagine what 2 months of that 50 people a week kind of pipeline you're going to have and opportunities that you'll have. And so just want to encourage everybody to kind of get into that kind of status, because I would love to hear how through what you built and utilized in the system is now putting all of these opportunities in front of you. So,
Mhm.
so yeah. Well, anybody have any questions before we end this Monday webinar? Well, I definitely thank everybody for showing up. I hope maybe you guys have possibly put some parts of the puzzle for your own together. But yeah, this is here for the grabbins and free for you guys to use.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
everybody. Yep, it was a pleasure. You
Yep.
guys have a great day, and ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.